I remember a drunk Brandon in his boxes coming out and saying, "If you come in my room in the night, I will murder you." Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the second channel. Today I have with me the Retro Handheld coverage master, Brandon Salt, also known as Retro Dodo. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm not too bad, mate. So first of all, I mean, everyone's going to know who you are, but for those who don't, would you like to give yourself a brief explanation as to what it is you do?
So most people know me from probably my handheld and my What the Fake episodes. So I review a lot of handhelds similar to you, and I get in a bunch of fake products as well, ranging from handhelds to like fake PlayStations. I just try and find the funniest crap I can on AliExpress and all these Chinese stores and then make funny videos on it. And then I have the Retro Dodo site where I kind of go into more in-depth written reviews on the handhelds as well and other stuff that we like to write about.
So when you Google RG350 or BitBoy review or something like that, your website always comes up. That is like the top one. So most likely anyone who's bought a console, like a retro handheld emulation device. And by the way, how do you call it? How do you summarize it? Because I always have to give that spiel, retro handheld emulation device, and it's like you can't narrow it down anymore.
Yeah, so our biggest search on the site is retro handheld,
Right.
and we've done a load of tests and done like emulators, handheld emulators, but people are just going by retro handhelds now.
Yeah, no,
So I'm just
fair
going with
enough.
that.
It's pretty easy to say those two words. But yeah. So currently, obviously, we're going through a bit of an odd situation. I'm not a political person, and I'm not a health expert, and I don't claim to be able to give any useful advice. But what might be interesting to the viewers is what it's like being Brandon Salt during this current period of time. How are you doing? How's it going to affect your videos, if at all? And what's your plan?
It's funny because I don't want to speak on most of content creators' behalf, but most of us are always self-isolated anyway. The amount of time we spend in the studio filming and then editing is most of our day. We only go out to like visit friends and get some food. So me personally, it hasn't really affected me, but it has a lot of friends and family. Like some family members are struggling to get work. Some friends are just, some have been made redundant. Some are like getting reduced hours at work. So I feel very lucky in this time to be able to create content and just about be able to like survive without having to, take an impact financially. So me personally, I'm all right. I've been self-isolating for about a year now with this whole YouTube thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm not scared at all, really. I'm just hesitant to go out and mix around. I'm not going to the supermarket and stocking up on stuff. I'm just doing my normal routine, really.
Yeah. No, that's
Don't know about you. You probably do the same, right?
Yeah, literally the same. I mean, we have been stocking up on a few bits and bobs. Not like buying. We can't afford to just go out and spend like 3 months worth of food on money on food. But we have bought a few of the essentials, like and a few cans of soup and some cans of beans and stuff. But we bulk buy anyway on Amazon. Like before all of this, like we bought your 9-pack of toilet roll for £2 as opposed to getting it locally for £5. So that in that sense, we've got a few bits and bobs anyway, and we've also started HelloFresh, which is like a the regular meal delivery. So hopefully that ain't gonna shut down. But my God, HelloFresh must be making bank right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same with Netflix and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just like everyone's just staying in. The whole video game industry as well is probably booming now.
Yeah.
And
what about getting in? What about getting in retro devices? I know we were speaking about ordering a few things off of AliExpress. We're now getting warnings saying if this item doesn't ship within 20 days, you'll be refunded and stuff. So what's the plan?
So I'm struggling. So most of my products I get are usually from China, and I'm struggling at the moment. No handhelds have came in for the last 2 months. I think the recent one I tried getting 3 months ago didn't come in, but then you actually found it on.
Oh, did you buy it?
eBay. Yeah, he got it.
Oh, yeah.
And funny story, right? He basically knew me, and he was like, I saw this on Retro Future and picked it up, and now I'm selling it. So
That's amazing.
He bought that because of you, and now it's in my hands.
That's so funny. And you got that for like 20 quid as well, which is a bargain.
Yeah, 18 quid. So
Yeah.
that's all right.
Nice. Oh, you accepted your offer.
Yeah, he wanted like 29 quid for it, didn't he? And I offered 15, and we managed to get 18. But no, I'm just getting stuff off Amazon at the moment. Like I've got a handheld in. It's limited though. I'm scarce of what like products to review at the moment. But
well, hopefully, hopefully you'll be alright. You just released a really damn cool video on the GameCube. Going through loads of different accessories, and the GameCube has a really loyal following, so a lot of peripherals for the GameCube accessories and stuff are ridiculously expensive, and obviously collectors want boxed stuff, so you just buying a boxed memory card set you back, a lot of money. So.
Yeah, the retro gaming community is awesome, but it's getting very expensive to buy anything nowadays, and my Pimp My Episodes are one of my favorite to do because I just love. It's just hilarious what you can make. But
they are ridiculous. They turn out amazingly funny.
They are good, but like I take such a financial beating on them. Like that, the whole GameCube video. Admittedly, it only came out like a day or two ago. It's on 10,000 views, which I'm happy with. But I must have spent close to 250 quid on that. On that video,
the stuff doesn't lose its value though, right? So you're not out of pocket indefinitely.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I could sell it all and probably be even.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's cool, man. So before we go on to a couple of things between the two of us, like how we know each other and some of the stuff we've gotten up to, let's quickly discuss our favourite handhelds at the moment. Let's try and keep it down to one or two, and why. You start.
So mine has to be the Retro Game 350. Now, there's probably only about 3 in that market which can compete with that, and the one you probably love is probably a competitor to it. But it kind of came out of nowhere, and it came out of 2 analog sticks. People didn't really know they wanted it until they found themselves playing with 2 analog sticks, and it's something I don't think a lot of people can go back on, especially for the PS1 fans. And it came with 4 shoulder buttons as well, which I really, really like, allowing you to play a ton of your ROMs that you want. And it had a bit of power to it. Admittedly, it's not the most powerful handheld on the market, but build quality for me is one of the best. It's the most durable, and it's just the most reliable, in my opinion.
You've got the aluminium one, haven't you?
I got the aluminium one, and as soon as I ordered it, they stopped because I took it apart, and it wasn't like it wasn't as well made as the plastic one.
Yeah.
So I think that might be why. Like, I didn't think they trusted going in people's hands, but it wasn't worth it. That was $180 when the original was 80 or less.
Yeah,
it wasn't worth it.
But man, that's going to be really rare as well now. That's really cool. Yeah, I think that one's a really cool one. I haven't got that yet. I think when these things come out now, so many people cover them, and it's got to be something that's going to interest me. So I really like the stuff that emulates like visually other consoles, because they crack me up. They always do. That's why I've got a collection of the Mega Duck and the Supervision and all that sort of crazy stuff. But at the moment, the last video I made was on the RG. What was that little Switch light?
RG300.
Is that what that is?
Oh, you're on about the PAL Kitty A19?
Yeah, that's it. The A19
the little blue
or
one.
the Q90 or the A300. Like, there's millions of different names. Yeah, I love that one, man. I know it's only got 2 shoulder buttons and it's only got 1 joystick, but for me, Game Boy Advance is my go-to, and it emulates it so well. There's not a lot of screen tear. It's a great little form factor. They're Chinese cheapo stuff, so the build quality is never going to be very
Did yours come preloaded with a load of games?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
You see, that's where I think a lot of people are looking to go, because I get so many messages, people asking how to install ROMs, and legally, we're not allowed to tell them how to install ROMs.
Well,
we can't send a link.
Say that you can. There's certain things we can say, like you can dump the ROM yourself if you have a ROM dumper. But then there's loads of legalities after that. Like if you were to then sell the original copy that you have, and then you've got a backup of a game that you no longer own, then that's illegal. And then sharing it is obviously illegal. But it's such a grey area, and it's always best to not talk about it. But when they come down with games pre-installed on them, as long as you're saying, I guess, that you don't endorse that, and it's not something that you knew was gonna come preloaded with them, then it's not our
Yeah.
fault that something's being shipped through Amazon that has potentially illegal things on it. But it's a bit annoying. I wish Nintendo would come out with some clarity on it, so I don't have to feel so bad about talking about it. But it is what it is, I
Yeah.
suppose.
I feel awkward at times. Do you want to tell people how to get ROMs? Because all of the stuff I review requires like emulation and ROMs, but you literally can't say, "Hey, you could download it here," because like you do not want to be in that situation against Nintendo.
You don't want to be associated with that.
No.
So yeah, the only other thing I didn't like about that little Q90 or whatever it was the plastic screen lens. Seems like such a waste of opportunity to just give it a little bit of an extra golden star if it could just polish it a little bit nicer. But they're going to keep the cost down as much as possible, I suppose.
Yeah, Palkitty are doing all right, actually. Like about 2 years ago, they were really low quality products that they used to ship out. Now they're not too bad. They're actually like a worthy pickup.
But the same lady who contacts me about BitBoy stuff contacts me about Palkitty stuff. I'm pretty certain it's all the same company. It's got to be.
Yeah, so I know. So the BitBoy guys, they do have a factory where they sell the retro, the RG350, the RG300, and the Game Kitty 350H. So they won't even answer me when I'm like, "Are you making these or selling them? What's going on?" But they're like, "Oh, have my affiliate link. Hello." I'm like, "Fine, that's fine." Like
Retro Mimi is where they sell them all, and that's where we get our affiliate stuff from. But it's bloody confusing, really, isn't it? But yeah. So one thing I wanted to, before we go on to just the personal stuff about you and I, one last thing I suppose is, and we'll keep it short and we'll keep it sweet, but what are you doing currently, first of all, to entertain yourself during this period of time? And what are your thoughts on what's happening and how do you feel about it?
Short and sweet, to keep me entertained is work and video games. Throughout the day, I work, and then if I want an hour's break, I'll just go and shoot stuff for a bit. I think video games is a good way for people to just,
zone out,
take their mind off things, have a bit of fun, talk to their mates on Xbox or PlayStation, and just chill out for a bit, self-quarantine. And this is all new to me. I'm in the same shoes as you, but I think just people need to pay a bit of respect to like the older generation and the ones with that aren't as healthy as us, and just stay in and chill out. Like take this time. Some of you might have time off work. Just take it off, chill out for a couple of weeks, and wait till it all blows over. Really.
Yeah. And so we have known each other now. You released a video about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I feel, about the Game Boy Color. You unboxed a purple Game Boy Color in a Pokemon game. Was it a purple Game Boy Color? Was it green? I can't even remember.
Yeah, it was purple. Yeah.
And I reached out to you on Facebook, and I think we were talking on Facebook for a little bit of time, and I was sending you some photos of my collection. And then I saw like the little pulsating video icon in the top right hand corner where I can share my video, but you don't necessarily have to share it back. And I whacked that on, and I was just sort of moving the camera around my collection just to show you some of the stuff that I had. And then you replied to it and you answered it, and all of a sudden your face popped up, and before we know it, I was talking to someone who had a channel 10 times the size of mine, and it was a really cool moment for me. And after that, we just got talking, and we just stayed in contact, in regular contact for a year or so. And my channel started picking up in size. You were shouting me out on your channel. I was doing the same on my channel. And then last year, was it last year? Pretty certain it was last year. Or was it the year before? I came out and visited you in Bath.
Yeah, it must have been like a year and a half ago, I think.
Yeah, geez, man, that was a while ago. And there are some funny stories. There are some funny stories about Bath. So, first thing, right, when I got there, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And I had just come back from the south of France, because I just took a little bit of time off to go travelling. Came back from the south of France, arrived in Bath train station, and you met me there. And then we just went up and sat in a bar and had a couple beers or whatever. And whilst we were there, you ordered something that we could review together.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like £150. It was like so expensive, and there was not a single review on it anywhere. And it was the what was it? It was
The Digi Retro
the
Boy,
Digi
wasn't it?
Retro Boy. That was it. And I was just talking to you. I was like, dude, look, I've seen this on Amazon. I can't afford to buy this right now. And you were like, give me the link. I bought it. Let's do a video on it, and you can do a teardown. I'll do a review, and I'll get you on. And we did that, man. And it was so fun, and it was amazingly. It was just hilarious. And it literally arrived in 2 days' time, because then it was the weekend as well. I feel like I arrived on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and then we had like 2 days for it to arrive before obviously posting get delivered. So it's just so funny that it managed to arrive. So
because back then I had no idea. Like, I did know about like handheld emulation, but I was nowhere near as like intellectual about it as I am now.
Yeah.
And that was the days where I started like super gluing Game Boy screens and stuff.
Oh,
and you
mate.
were like, "Bro, what are you doing?"
And I'm pretty certain as well. I don't think you've ever spoken about this, and I might be calling you out. When you did that initial video, you did the Game Boy Color repair that you picked up from the car boot sale. The shell that you bought, I'm pretty certain you were convinced that was an official shell.
I was at the time.
Because,
now,
because
I look back,
now there's
I'm
so
like,
many of them.
God. They're on AliExpress, mate. And you know when they're on AliExpress,
yeah.
they are not legit.
Yeah, but you were convinced that you'd turned a Game Boy into like a £100 Game Boy. But I remember getting this call from you, and I was in a shop. I was just paying for some food, and you were like, "Dude, I've absolutely fucked it." And I was like, "What?" And you were like, "Yeah, there was no adhesive for the screen, so I just glued the lens on." I was like, "You did what?" "Yeah, I glued it on." I was like, "What did you glue it on with?" "I glued it on with super glue." And I just looked. I was like, super glue is going to cloud up the plastic, and you're never going to remove it without damaging everything. And you showed me this concoction of disaster that was a Game Boy Color screen super glued to a lens. Absolutely mental.
Those days were weird because I started like the retro videos, and that's when I was unboxing Pokemon and like fake Game Boy games and original Game Boy colors, and it was popping up. I was like, "Wow, this is awesome!" Like, I've been into this stuff for years. I can finally like start doing it.
Yeah.
So I started rushing into it. Like, I need to mod a Game Boy. Bang! I slapped on super glue and was buying crappy shells.
It turned out really funny though. I thought it was brilliant.
Something I'm going to look back on and be like, "You idiot." so now, like, research goes into it. I just look back at those days, like, I was rushing it, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, I suppose like it's exciting as well when you get a platform for the people that also care about what you care about. It's an exciting moment. But really quickly going back to Bath. So we went out. We went on a night out, didn't we? Do you remember that?
Oh yes.
So we went on a night out to this dingy ass little dive bar that was like a room that was less than 10 meters by 10 meters big. It was absolutely tiny, and at the end of the room was a staircase down to like a sort of speakeasy style, like dingy, like suburban shantytown nightclub.
So with Bath, nightclubs legally have to be underground because it's like a Roman city. There can't be any drinking in public view.
That's mad.
So all the nightclubs are like down into like the cellars where people used to get like killed back in the Roman days.
Mate, we went there, right? And I mean, I don't know how much of this. If this gets too naughty, then we might have to edit this out. But we found two girls there, right? At the time, we were both single. We're not single now, but we met two girls there. And we just sat down and we were just talking to these random girls. We'd obviously had a few drinks. And we were telling them that we made YouTube videos, and they were like really interested.
Dude, I cannot remember this.
Do you not remember this? And
no,
do
I
you
must
remember there was this girl there, and one of the girls out of the two was like convinced that when she grew up, and she didn't know what she wanted to do, but she was convinced that when she grew up she was going to be a CEO. Do you remember that? And the conversation went on for about 45 minutes, and then I turned around and you had gone. I don't know what point you left, but I was just sat there listening to this girl in the middle of this city that I'd never been to before, and listening to this girl telling me she was going to be a CEO. And I turned around and you were completely gone. And I also remember this drink called Bee Sting.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. That's still like going strong, and so that club is called Back to Mine. Funnily enough, and the bee sting's like 12% cider, and
Mate.
if you drink those, if you have 2 pints of those, you're a goner.
And that's what we drank, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Absolutely hilarious. And then I stayed on your sofa that night. And although we'd obviously known each other for like over a year and a half or something, and obviously we'd hung out a bit in person over this period of time, this was the first time that I just slept on your sofa. And I remember a drunk Brandon in his boxes coming out and saying, "If you come in my room in the night, I will murder you." Do you remember that? Because at that point, I might have been like a complete stranger. He was actually like dodgy, and that was the funniest thing
I'm
ever.
very territorial when I'm drunk, especially in my own flat, and you can't see, but just there is a door. And whenever anyone's round mine, I just threaten them. If they come in, I will like really, really hurt them. And I remember doing it to you, and then in the morning, really regretting it.
Mate, that was so funny. And then one night, I think it was the last night I was there. It was like a Sunday evening, and we were just hanging out playing some video games. And I was like, "Oh, I'll nip up to the shop and we'll do like a stir fry." And there was no food, and I came back with baked beans and
Oh, it was the sausages and the baked beans.
oh yeah,
Wasn't
the sausage and baked beans and like pita bread.
it? Oh no.
Oh god, man, that's so funny. Anyway, that is going to wrap up this video. Brandon, do you have anything else you would like to say?
No, just like if you guys need any advice for retro handhelds, come to me and Elliot, and we should be able to give you a hand. You know.
Be sure to check out retrododo.com as well as on YouTube as well. Thank you very much, Brandon, for joining me. I really appreciate it, man.
You're welcome. Catch you later.
See ya.